Welcome, welcome. You know I love cardigans, so today we're going to do a great little cardigan. I hope you'll love it. I fell in love with it. It's so cute. It's just a little different. And so let's first look at it. This is what I saw. I was shopping. I was at Nordstrom's, but I couldn't go back and find it. So excuse the photo, but you know, I couldn't find it on the website. But anyway, you can see, I want you to kind of look at it and see how the portion that comes down the front makes the closure. So what you recognize is it's a permanent closure. I love it. I just thought it was lovely. I loved it. You have to slip it over your head. So the one I've got on, you know, you got to slip over your head. It makes it a little more dramatic when this part is opened, like on the mannequin. But it looks good with it closed because mine's closed and I love it. But again, so this side is going to come to this side. And so I'm going to go through and explain it to you. So if you look at the next picture, I circled that red area, and that red area is right where you can see that there's just a hole there. You're going to, on one side, you're going to make just a hole, and then on the other side, you're going to loop it through the hole and come around to the other side. Now I did this in different colors, but we'll go through this in a minute. First off, I want to cover that it's pattern number 915. Which is our favorite cardigan, Hugo's favorite cardigan. We love it, we love it, we love it. And then I only changed one piece. So let's look at the next picture, and I'm gonna show you the piece that we changed is number 3 collar, and we literally just cut it off. So it's as wide as you wanna make this front piece to be. You can see I made all mine about 1.25 inches, cut it, and then I added seam allowance to both sides. I think it's always really important to understand the pattern, because I know that some of you, if you're going to listen to this, you're going to say, oh, what you talking about? You really have to know the pattern or a pattern similar. You don't have to do it to this one. You can do it to any cardigan. Just separate the front, add seam allowance to both pieces, and you could do it. This one in particular, this is cut on the fold because there's 2 layers here, and there's 2 of those layers. This is your center back seam, okay? And so, mind you, there's 2 layers. Now, the beauty of having 2 layers is what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip this piece that I cut off in between the 2 layers. And I'm going to sew that. So what you want to do is this opening is about 13 inches from the bottom, because you have to decide, you know, where you want it to close permanently. You could do it higher, nothing wrong. You probably too much lower and it'll get too low. But also you could just make up this piece and put it on, because it's got a center back seam, so you can kind of see how it sits on you, and then figure out how far up you want that cross to be. And again, you could get different looks doing it different ways. So, you know, once I did this in 4 different fabrics. I thought that might be kind of cute to do it in different fabrics. So, you know, you never know where those ideas will take you. Okay, so number 1, we kind of know what we're doing. We're going to leave a buttonhole on the one side. We're going to take this, we're going to cross it over, and then sew it back. Just continue, just sew it back. The raw edges are going to go together. That's it. All it is kind of a weaved in section. So you're going to cut the rest of the cardigan out as shown, except just change this one piece. And then for the sewing, I went ahead and I did this front panel first. So I sewed this on just so you could see up to this point. Let me kind of show it to you here. I left it open 13 inches from the bottom. So you can see I've got these 2 pieces, and then I've got this. I left it open, and then just leave on this side, on one side, it doesn't really matter which one you do, leave it open about 1 inch, and then just go ahead and continue sewing. I want to show you the next picture, because when you skip that inch, this will be a raw edge. You'll have 2 raw edges. So what I did is I clipped this, and you can see those 2 little clips are between my fingers on this photo, and then I tucked it underneath, just like a welt pocket or a side seam pocket, you know, just where you make those 2 little clips and stick it underneath here. You're going to stick it inside the band, and then I stitched it. The next picture you see, I'm stitching it. So that, and this one you can just, this side you can just stitch together to itself. So once I bring this over and do the same thing to this, Once I bring it over, and again, this is just a buttonhole. You can just continue stitching this and then stick this through the buttonhole and then stitch it back to this side. And that's the little cross that continues. It's so cute. There's so many different ways to do it. You don't have to do it exactly like I'm doing it. I just wanted to give you a heads up is when you have that twisted effect. I love it. I just really, really like it. My fabric is the black. I did it 2 times. The black is 5106, and then these are all on the new fabrics. And what I did is I put up fabrics that coordinated together. So this is a great pattern to do a woven and a knit together because the body is knit, what I did, and then the front part, this is knit, but it doesn't have to be. It could be woven. This is knit too, but again, it doesn't have to be. It could be woven. Isn't that a great little cardigan? Just a really simple little cardigan. And really simple to do. You just want to finish those edges so that when you go to turn it, you don't have to leave them finished. You could just tuck them under. It's not that big a deal. But what I did was that's when I did those 2 cuts, and then I top stitched. I did that on both sides, and then I went ahead and continued stitching it, and then looped it and stitched the other side. Then you sew this to the rest of it, you hem it, and you're good to go. So the goal is to make a new cardigan. I love cardigans because they're like jackets, but not. So they're a little more casual than jackets, but I think they can be, especially in the fabrics, they can be just as dressy. So the goal is to have happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns.